And welcome back to the program. There are a lot of scammers out there during tax time, and we want to make sure that you protect yourself. Joining me now, the expert, the man that I love to hang out with here on the program, Fred Ellsbury with the Better Business Bureau. Thanks for being on the show.
Always glad to be here. Thank you, Adam.
Fred, you're always a wealth of information. So let's talk about some of the scams that people need to watch out for this tax season.
Right.
Are there some similarities from last year to this year, or some
new
I
stuff? Think you're going to have a lot of the copycats this year. I mean, Mark earlier was talking about some of the false returns, and that's been a big scare for the public out there. And the best way to avoid that is, you know, with the PIN registration here in Georgia, but also get those tax returns in early. Don't let somebody beat you to the punch, right?
That's exactly right.
But, you know, this is the time of the year, you know, tax season brings out scammers. And one of the things they do is they'll send you emails. And these are nothing more than emails trying to get your personal information. They make it look like it's an official email from the IRS. And again, all it's trying to do is get your personal information. And the IRS would tell you they're not going to send you an email. You know, they're not going to call you on the telephone. They're going to write you a letter if they need to get in touch with you. So don't fall for those emails. Sometimes the emails, if they're not able to get your information, they'll just load a malware on your computer, and now you got the expense of trying to get your computer cleaned up. So, you know, the old adage is you don't fall for those emails when they come.
Right.
And you know, we all get them every day. The other one to watch out for, and this is kind of under the category, be sure you know who you're dealing with. If you owe back taxes, or maybe you've got a big tax bill, you know, there are a lot of scammers out there that are saying, you know, for an advanced fee, and that's the word that you need to listen to, for an advanced fee, we can help reduce your tax liability to almost nothing. You know, you think you owe $20,000, we'll get you down to $500, but you've got to pay us an advance fee to do that. Now, there are companies that are able to do that for you, but you need to go to bbb.org and check these companies out and be sure they're reputable companies. See what other consumers say about them. Don't just fall for the trap of sending money in advance with the idea that they're going to reduce all of your tax liability.
Yeah, I think oftentimes these scammers, they want to get you right away. And take some time, step back from the situation, reach out. Yeah, that's why you have the Better Business Bureau. And you know, your website, by the way, is great. I mean, if you haven't been on the Better Business Bureau's website, it's very, very useful. You get on there, you can type in the company's name, research a company, and it will give, you know, a letter grade based on how well or not so well they're doing, and also will sometimes list descriptions of complaints that people have filed about a company.
Right. We have about a 2-year bank of the actual complaints that people have filed as well as the company response. I mean, if you think about it from the company standpoint, it is just as important that consumers can see how you deal with your customers and how you take care of them. I mean, everybody's going to have complaints at some time. How you deal with those complaints is what may differentiate you from other companies. So yeah, on our website you can look up a company. If we've got enough information on that company, you will have a rating from an A+ to an F. You'll be able to see what their complaint activity's been. You'll be able to read those complaints. Very shortly you're going to be able to put on a customer review. And so we'll be adding that to the business reviews as we begin to make them robust and more helpful to the consuming public.
Good. And what are some of the other scams that are out there? Obviously, the phishing type scams you talked about with the fake IRS logo, but it looks legit.
Right.
They're not going to email you asking for your information, and essentially are phishing for it. Some of the other things that you see or know about?
Well, one thing we've already had start early this year. In fact, one of our employees found themselves as a victim of this one. They got a call indicating they were an agent with the IRS. And they were having a difficult time getting their return file because the electronic filing didn't go through. And so if they can verify the Social Security number, then we'll be able to go and be sure that electronic file goes through. And so, you know, instead of verifying the Social Security number, these people are looking for your Social Security number. Of course, that's the key to your financial well-being. And I know Mark mentioned that identity theft is a big thing. Anytime you're dealing with Social Security number, bank account, credit card numbers, and all of that is usually involved in tax preparation at some point. it's just ripe for somebody stealing that information and then using it. So we always tell people, go, twice a year you can go to annualcreditreport.com and check your credit report. Do that. It doesn't cost a thing to do it. And that way you'll know if anybody is using, using your financial well-being. The last one that I'll mention to you is the phone call you get. This is an IRS agent. You owe back taxes, and you got an opportunity to pay them today. But unfortunately, if you don't pay them today, then probably we're going to be arresting you tomorrow. So we can make arrangements for you to wire that money to us, and in fact would be willing to settle for a lesser amount, but you have to do it today.
Yeah.
And so kind of the red flags you need to look for, and you mentioned one earlier, is that don't fall for that pressure. I tell people, when you feel pressure, that's your signal to back off and say, well, send me a letter, or give me your phone number and let me call you back.
That's
or
right.
Give me time to check you out and see what's going on. So pressure. IRS is not going to call you. They're not going to send you an email. And you never want to wire money to people that you don't know. I mean, that's like sending cash to people you don't know. So there's some really good tips that will serve you across all scams, and particularly at this time of the year on the IRS scams.
And going along those lines of wiring money, another thing to look out for, and I've heard a lot about, are scams that are encouraging people to go to a pharmacy and get Green Dot Money Pack cards.
Right.
And in fact, a lot of pharmacies have stopped carrying those Money Pack cards where you can add money to them and then scratch the numbers off and give that information to the scammer over the phone.
The green card got a bad name fast because of the scammers starting to use it. But now we're also seeing they'll ask you to send a loaded debit card.
Watch out for that.
And mail it to a post office box.
And right before the break, Fred, we talked about one item you should never carry in your wallet.
Right.
You know what that is, right?
That'd be your Social Security card. And for somebody like me that was born back in the 40s, grew up in the 50s and the 60s, and my mama told me, right, always carry your Social Security card with you. But in today's world, that is one of the pieces of identification you do not want to carry. I mean, most people are looking for photo IDs. That's not your Social Security card. You can either have a driver's license or you can get a state ID, but do not carry your Social Security card.
This is one of those things you got to look at Mom and say, I'm sorry, Mama. I can't carry my card this time.
Well, the good thing is, Mama changed with the times. She doesn't carry hers either.
Well, that's good. Fred, thank you so much for being on the
Thank you,
program.
Adam.
And this is good information to help us avoid, falling into a trap we don't want to fall into. Great job, Fred. And up next, you don't have to do it yourself. We have some tax professionals who can help you navigate through the tax season with ease. We have some great filing tips when we return right here on Public Affairs on Peach.